Hello! Welcome to Wheel Talk. I'm Brian, and this is Pumpkin. We are Recapacitized Warders. Recappa's not thrilled about us getting so much airtime, but the trailer dropped on Thursday, Recappa's still hungover from celebrating, and we can't wait for her. So Pumpkin and I are gonna break down this teaser trailer. Before we dive in, this video has minor spoilers for The Eye of the World and New Spring. If you haven't read those, or if you don't want to know what fans predict for the show, this video might not be for you. You've been warned. Anyway, we've got lots to talk about. Let's dive in. Who loves long books and tiny warders? Who's so over the Amerlin's orders? Who loves making every novice cry? Recapacity. Oh, that's me! Pumpkin is now under this end table. It looks like she's in jail, but she loves it in there. So, first of all, when Rosamund Pike posted a message promising a teaser trailer on Wednesday night, I lowered my expectations about how long it would be. But this was a full-on 2-minute badass Wheel of Time trailer. It came out on Thursday as promised, but it showed up on the Amazon app a few days later. You can watch this trailer as a first look. This is getting wheel. Since the trailer dropped, more Wheel of Time ads have been dropping on social media. We've also had more news, including the casting of Lews Therin Telamon. But we're not here to talk about that. Enough of this preamble. This is me watching it for the first time. Okay. Beautiful. Egwene! Yes, Moiraine. Oh, Swan. Fucking Leone looks great. I know, Pumpkin, I know. Oh, Tam. What is that? Oh, the tower. Ah! Oh! Swan. Yes! Myrddraal. Ah! Fucking beautiful. Yeah, I'll take it. Oh my god! It's so good. So good. I live for it. Amazon called this a teaser trailer because there are other trailers coming. Rafe confirmed that, but this quote-unquote teaser gave us a lot. Let's get into it. We start with Nynaeve telling Egwene to be strong, then shoving her off a cliff. It's sort of shocking. I like that they kicked off with this. We had heard leaked information about Egwene's initiation and the cliff. That was no surprise. But I imagined Egwene jumping. When Nynaeve pushed her, I was like, oh shit, that's kind of messed up. I love it. I wondered if it was actually Madeline Madden who went off that cliff. She confirmed on Twitter that it was. Amazing, she's a fierce queen. Next is Emond's Field. A Moiraine voiceover gives us that iconic line, "The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend." I have bought several Eye of the World copies and they all fall apart and I feel like a murderer. We see Randmat and Perrin partying in the wine spring. Egwene walks in and Nynaeve smiles when Egwene and Rand make eyes at each other. It's sweet. It's very Emond's Field before the storm. Then we get some brief shots that call for speculation. We get a gorgeous shot of folks riding along a beach, which is probably Moraine's carpool. Then we get this shot of Steppen, Kareen's warder, crying as he kisses a gold serpent ring. If you haven't read New Spring, here's where the spoilers come in. Kareen dies in New Spring before The Eye of the World. So when she was cast, a lot of fans speculated she would only be in flashbacks. The Entertainment Weekly pictures confirmed Kareen would be a part of the main timeline, helping capture Logain. But Kareen's death in New Spring suggested she would probably die in season 1. Her warder crying over a great serpent ring pretty much confirms that. From the looks of the trailer, seems like Logain kills her. Next is this gorgeous shot of Madeline Madden emerging from the water. Let's talk about the red streak on Egwene's face. On a first watch, I thought this was right after Nynaeve pushed her. I was worried she'd hit her head and that red streak was blood. Of course, that's not how blood would look if you were just underwater. The red streak is painted on as part of this ritual. If you look closely at the first shot, Egwene's hair looks braided when Nynaeve pushes her. And it doesn't look like she's wearing the face paint, which suggests this moment doesn't happen right after Nynaeve's push. Enough of that, let's talk about this shot. As many fans have noticed, Egwene emerges surrounded by the Aja colors. It's a striking image, but I also feel like they don't hit us over the head with the symbolism. It's just freaking cool. If you watch Wheel Talk, you know know I stan Egwene. But in book 1, she feels childish to me. When she gives her reasons for wanting to join Moiraine, I get annoyed. Come at me, fellow Egwene fans. Rafe told us they would age up the Emond's Field 5. Egwene in this trailer is a great example of why I think that's smart. She's been through stuff and she's an adult. I appreciate the show setting her up as someone to take seriously from the beginning. People might be mad I said that, but I stan Egwene and I said what I said. Then comes this gorgeous picture of Tar Valon. You can see Dragonmount in the background, absolutely stunning. Next is Moiraine's entrance, focusing on her face as she lowers her hood. The drama of this entrance makes me think it's the first time we see her. She's probably walking into the wine spring and I can't wait. This is where Moiraine's voiceover begins. The power inside you. All over the world, there are different names for it, but it is one thing, one power. And women who can touch it, we protect the world. I love this. It's probably from Egwene's first lesson. I hope Egwene and Moiraine make the Kisera flicker like in the books. I love that. But I'm skipping ahead. This voiceover spans several shots. First is Egwene drifting in the river. Then we get the Hall of the Tower. Yes, queens! It lasts for 2 seconds, but it's so cool. You can tell it's the hall because sitters are grouped in threes by Aja. Liandrin, Moiraine, and Alanna are at the center facing the Amyrlin seat. Then we get our first look at Sophie Okonedo as Siuan Sanche, the Amyrlin. She looks amazing, but let's talk about it. The tattoos on her chest are cool. I wonder if that's an Amyrlin thing? The garment itself is rad. I love the angled shoulders and the collar, and I love the gold. But there is no stole. Maybe that stylized collar is the stole, but I don't think so. The Aja stripes are there, but they're faded and not obvious. Does that mean we're nixing the stole? Maybe, but before we all freak out, let's remember this is another turning. Personally, I don't care if they cut the Amyrlin stole as long as she gets to look fierce, which I think she does. Next, we see Karine healing Moiraine, which is awesome. Leaked audition scripts tell us Moiraine gets wounded in Shadar Logoth. Karine is probably healing that wound. Fans predicted Moiraine's carpool would run into the Aes Sedai, capturing Logain. This trailer confirms it. Maybe they deliberately meet up with those Aes Sedai, hoping one of them can heal Moiraine. That's what I think. We get a good look at Karine's Great Serpent Ring. It's bulkier than I would have thought, but I'm into it. We see the flows of saidar. They're all a cloudy white color. Healing requires all 5 powers. Because these flows are all one color, I expect threads of different powers won't be visually distinguishable on the show. It's also possible that they are nixing 5 separate powers. That would disappoint me, to be honest, but I would get over it. I'm more interested in how flows create weaves and what that looks like. Threads that all look the same might be best for television. Maybe colorful flows would have looked tacky. I don't know. The poster had different colored threads of saidar, so I was kind of expecting that. Speaking of which, the next shot looks like Moiraine on Winternight starting to call down lightning. Again, the flows all look the same, and I'm okay with it. Rafe Judkins and Rosamund Pike did a Q&A after this trailer dropped. Someone asked, which part of the trailer are you most excited to see the full version of in the show, and why? Rafe said, I'm really thrilled for fans to see more of Winternight. In the books, we don't get to see Lan and Moiraine on Winternight. Supposedly it was badass, but as readers, we weren't there. I'm excited that Rafe is excited to show us Winternight in Emond's Field. It's gonna be cool. Next comes the Red Aja. I'm surprised to be complimenting the Reds, but they look badass. And then we get Leane stamping her keeper's staff. Talk about badass, we stan Jennifer Cheon Garcia here. Next comes my favorite part of the trailer. Alanna is conjuring a weave between her hands. Arrows are about to land on her party. Then Alanna raises her hand and the arrows stop. Watching that first time, this was the first moment when I actually screamed. The way Priyanka Bose maintains her serenity while she's doing this is so Aes Sedai. It's so Wheel of Time, it's so Green Aja, it gives me life. Interestingly, Lan and Nynaeve are there. Lan is in front of Nynaeve defending her. We already mentioned that Moiraine's carpool will meet up with these Aes Sedai. But it's unusual to see Lan away from Moiraine this early on. Moiraine is probably being healed by Karine right now. We get another gorgeous shot of Tar Valon. The show is coming this November, which we knew. We've got a gorgeous shot of 2 figures on a mountainside. I don't don't know, let's just agree that it's a beautiful image and move on. Next is Rand prepping an arrow using what I assume is a Two Rivers bow. Hell yeah. And then we get to Shadar Logoth. Ah! Mat's examining his dagger. Statue with darkness creeping up it. Not sure what that's about, but I assume it's some kind of Mordith magic, and I'm into it. Egwene is running upstairs. Tam says, no matter what happens, what pain we face. Mat turns away from what looks like a corpse hanging in a cage. Whoa. A wolf barks at Perrin. I love that. We get some sexy time with Rand and Egwene. If Rand and Egwene are banging before they leave Emond's Field, I'm into it. Not because I want to see them getting down, I don't care about that, but the books are really vague about sex, and I don't want that for the show. And we come back to Tam. Michael McElhatton is going to be an amazing Tam, by the way. I'm stoked to see him. Anyway, Tam says, the wheel keeps turning. We get 3 amazing images of circles. The first one looks like Beltane, the second looks like a funeral, and the third looks like the inside of the White Tower. Those women climb a lot of stairs. They probably have really well-turned calves. Anyway, next we get Lan with a blade at his throat. Lan says, the Dark One is coming for your friends. Based on leaked audition scripts, it's a safe bet that Nynaeve is the one holding the blade. Awesome. I live for it. Next we have a blurry image of a Myrddraal on a horse that wears a spooky mask. In the Q&A, someone asked, how many nightmares did that flaming Thade give you? Rosamund Pike replied, his very feminine lips concealing rows and rows of teeth give me nightmares. And don't get me started on the skeleton mask his horse wears. Seems like Myrddraal horses wear skeleton masks. I dig it. Then comes Logain blasting the fuck out of the Aes Sedai. We get Nynaeve against a tree looking terrified. I'm not sure about when this takes place. Since she seems to be on her own, my best guess is Nynaeve just escaped Shadar Logoth and she's being pursued by Trollocs. We'll see. Sophie Okonedo as our badass Amyrlin tells Moiraine, the last battle is coming. The only thing that matters is what you do. Blurry Trollocs are charging. Moiraine is riding, looking fierce. Lan is looking back, looking fierce. Nynaeve draws a blade to defend Egwene. They both look fierce. Lan's fighting Trollocs. Everyone is fierce. Moiraine's carpool rides toward what metadata confirmed is a Waygate. And then we get a close shot of a Myrddraal. I'm obsessed. This also made me scream. Those teeth, that eyeless stare, I get my life. We get Lan fighting on Winternight. Moraine's fighting nearby, preparing a weave. Then she opens her eyes, calls down lightning, and I scream again. The cut from the lightning into the serpent is really cool. This show's gonna be so cool. Right after watching this trailer, I showed it to my husband. He has not read The Wheel of Time, and I was curious what he'd say. He was impressed. His first comment was about the high quality. His second comment was that it reminded him of Avatar: The Last Airbender. He said the Red Aja looked like the Fire Nation, and channeling looked like airbending. It's interesting because he's not wrong. I don't care as long as it looks awesome, which I think it does. Also, I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Let's conclude with highlights from Rafe and Rosamund's Q&A. They answered a lot of questions and we learned some cool stuff. Someone asked, how much will season 1 cover? Book 1 or spread across several? We already knew the show would go into the Great Hunt a little bit just based on casting, but Rafe replied, season 1 will cover book 1 plus some of book 2 and even book 3. But also not all of book 1 as some of it is in season 2. Cryptic enough? I love it! I can't wait to see what parts of books 2 and 3 we'll get in season 1. Someone asked Rosamund, what's your favorite Moiraine speech? Rosamund replied, Moiraine can be very silent, so when she speaks, we listen. In the books, it's the Weep for Manetheren speech. The idea that in the people of the Two Rivers, the old blood runs deep. This caught my attention. It sounds like she's hinting that Weep for Manetheren won't be in season 1. If it were, I think she would have just answered Weep for Manetheren. But she specified that that's her favorite in the books. Keep in mind, if Weep for Manetheren isn't in season 1, that doesn't necessarily mean it's cut. I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to do a version of it later on. But also, some things will get cut. It's gonna happen. Rosamund was also asked, how did you feel seeing Moiraine's powers visually for the first time? She replied, I felt like a badass. I said to Rafe when I first saw it, I need this video of me shooting fireballs to show my sons again and again. I love that. I'm so excited to see those fireballs. Anyway, someone asked Rafe, can we get some information on the composer or the score for the show? Rafe said, if Amazon lets this go through, which they did, this is me announcing that we have the most incredible composer working on the show by the name of Lorne Balfe. You've gotten a tiny hint of his music with the reveal of the logo, and what he's doing is really special. I think Rafe is referring to the brief bit of music we got at the end of the title treatment. When the Amazon arrow pops up, we get that da-da-da-da-da-dum. I think that's probably part of the main theme song. It's short, but the vibe makes me wonder if Tom will sing the main theme song. That would be unusual for a show like this, but I think it would be cool. I am not familiar with Lorne Balfe. In fact, I'm probably saying his last name wrong, but I'm sure his music will be fantastic. I can't wait. You can find the whole Q&A on WhatSeries.com. I will include a link in the description. If you haven't checked out WhatSeries.com, it's a fantastic website for Wheel of Time news. The folks there are doing a great job keeping our fandom up to date. It's fantastic. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you can like the video and subscribe, that would be fantastic. It helps the channel. If you'd like to support Wheel Talk and help it continue, the best way is to sponsor the show on Patreon. There's a link in the notes. All levels of contribution are fabulous. If you're looking for new Wheel of Time content, definitely check out thegreatblight.com. The Great Blight has content from tons of Watt creators. And finally, if you are a Wheel of Time fan, you should be listening to Tar Valon After Dark. It's a podcast I co-host with Nablus and Jess the Amerlin, and you'll love it. Check it out. Enough of me talking. I've had enough. Until next time, walk in the light and keep it wheel.